President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms in Abuja. At the inauguration, the president said the committee would be guided by national interest above all things. Tinubu said the country cannot continue to tax poverty or production, but focus on returns, income, and consumption. He also directed all government agencies, ministries, and departments to cooperate fully with the committee towards achieving the mandate.
Greater portion of government already meager revenues. Our target is to improve Nigeria's revenue profile while making the business environment more conducive and internationally competitive. Our aim is to transform the tax system to support sustainable development, while at the same time achieving a minimum of 18% tax to GDP ratio within the next 3 years. In order to ensure seamless implementation, the committee shall be empowered not merely to make recommendations, but also provide practical support in the execution and delivery of the recommended changes.
Tinubu said within the scope of the mandate, the committee shall have as its objective the advancement of viable and cost-effective solutions to issues such as the multiplicity of revenue collection agencies, the high costs of revenue administration, the excessive burden on compliance on ordinary taxpayers, the lack of effective coordination between fiscal and other economic policies within and across levels of government, and poor accountability in the utilization of tax revenues.
Where we should be promoting prosperity. We should no longer tax investment or production, but focus on returns, incomes, and consumption. This government will tax the fruit, but not the seeds.
The chairman of the committee, Taiwo Akindele, responds.
Heavily on those who comply, while those who evade often get away with little or no consequences. We need to change that.
The president had The President had 4 weeks ago set up the committee chaired by fiscal policy partner and Africa tax leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Taiwo Oyedele. The committee has experts from both the private and public sectors as members. In another development, President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday met with the Director-General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, at the Aso Villa in Abuja. The purpose of her visit was not disclosed, but it might not be unconnected to the economic and trade agenda of the new administration in Nigeria. In June 2023, Tinubu and Okonjo-Iweala met in France at the Global Pact Summit in Paris, hosted by President Emmanuel Macron. Okonjo-Iweala served twice as Nigeria's finance minister between 2003 and 2006, as well as from 2011 to 2015, the first woman to hold the position. She also spent a 25-year career at the World Bank, rising to the number 2 position of managing director. The Senate has transmitted the names of 45 confirmed ministerial nominees to the presidency. The Senior Special Assistant on National Assembly Matters, Senate, Senator Abdullahi Gumel, disclosed this in an interview with journalists, explaining why the number of ministerial nominees was increased to 48 as against 42 in the previous administration. Gumel said some of the ministries which were merged will now stand alone, namely the Ministry of Works and Housing. They also thanked the senators for suspending their recess to screen and confirm the nominees. The Senate on Monday confirmed 45 out of 48 ministerial nominees sent to the upper chamber by President Bola Tinubu. The remaining 3 nominees not confirmed are former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Stella Okotete from Delta State, and Abubakar Danladi from Taraba State. According to the Senate, President Godswill Akpabio, the nominees were not confirmed because they are still undergoing security checks. Meanwhile, with 48 ministerial nominees, President Bola Tinubu has set a new record for highest number of ministers designate since 1999. Out of the 48, 45 have been screened and confirmed by the Senate, while 3 are in line for final security checks as there were petitions written against them. Margaret Okunola sought opinions on the expanded ministerial list, which is higher than the previous administration, and its attendant effect on cost of governance in view of current upward inflationary trend in the country. Can report.
Going down the memory lane, the Fourth Republic under the leadership of former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo began with 27 ministers between 1999 and 2003, and in his second term from 2003 to 2007, the number increased to 30, while late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua from 2007 to 2010 inaugurated 39 ministers, introducing the Minister of State nomenclature to accommodate all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, in his cabinet. This was, however, reduced by former President Goodluck Jonathan between 2011 and 2015 to 33, though he later jerked it back to 37 at the latter end of his administration. The immediate past administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 to 2023 introduced extra ministerial slots to take care of the 6 geopolitical zones, and for the first time, Federal Cabinet size astronomically went up to 42. At the birth of President Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023, Nigerians were divided on the size of the next Federal Executive Council, largely due to economic reality. Recently, President Tinubu, in line with the law to appoint ministers within 60 days of assumption of office, submitted 48 nominees, out of which 45 have been screened and confirmed as ministers designate. Against current reality of rising inflation, occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy among other policies introduced by the new administration, some Nigerians are skeptical about the expanded ministerial list.
It's not a new thing. Well, it's quite unfortunate that we are getting an expanded cabinet this time around, given the fact that preceding administrations have not had as much as 45, 48, as it were. Who knows, maybe it's going to even increase in due course. We don't know yet. Some ministries have been considered to be quite unnecessary to stand on their own. They are most likely to be merged. So what we were expecting was a kind of reduced number of cabinet participants in terms of ministerial appointments.
Ministerial appointment is at the discretion of the president. The Constitution did not restrict the president to any number, provided that the federal character provisions in the Constitution is respected. So there is nothing really unethical or unusual in that.
Having a 48 nominee for the ministerial post is something that the president must have looked in depth to see how it can be all-inclusive, carrying the youth and the women along. Not only that, creating more ministry that will cater for the people.
Some were of the opinion that the number of ministers is not the issue, but it will be a great deal if the presidency can monitor and be prudent with cost of governance.
Appointment of ministers per se is not what jacks up the cost of governance, but the waste and ostentatious lifestyle associated with things like that. But you can have a large number and then reduce the type of convoys, the type of paraphernalia of office that go with it. And these are the things that, increases the cost of governance, not actually the number. You could have 5, and those 5 are profligate and wasteful. You understand me? And you could have 50 and restrict them to certain numbers, certain things. It depends on the body language of the president.
What matters most for us is to get a result from those ministers. When we have a positive result from them, you will see that the whole country will blossom.
It's quite unfortunate that it has to be an enlarged cabinet, particularly with the retinue of aids that will come with it and the compounded financial implication on our purse. Whatever it is that we might have saved from the fuel subsidy removal, I think should be returned back in the interest of the populace, not for the political class to consume it wholesomely.
Though a 42-member cabinet is being expected because each state is constitutionally mandated to have a representative, just as it was done by the last administration. An inclusion of 6 more ministers representing each of the 6 geological zones to contribute to discussions at the weekly Federal Executive Council FEC meeting, also followed by the template set by former President Buhari. However, the size has gone beyond 42, as 45 out of the 48 by President Tinubu might likely set a new record in the political annals of Nigeria. Margaret Okunlola, OGTV News.
Still ahead, Abia State OGTV News. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to implement a set of new financial sanctions against the coupists in Niger Republic, as well as their associates. The President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Chief Ajuri Ngelale, disclosed this in a media chat at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The presidential spokesman said that the actions so far taken by Nigeria against the military junta in Niger were not decisions single-handedly taken by Nigeria, but taken as instructions by Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Ngelale pointed out that the actions so far directed by President Tinubu were in his capacity as the chairman, ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Governments. He explained that they have nothing to do with ethnic or religious considerations, as been canvassed in some quarters. In recognition of technical and vocational education and training, TVET, as one of the critical subsectors of education that should evolve with innovation and technological advancement, stakeholders have been urged to explore vocational education for the socio-economic development of the society. The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, made this submission at the opening ceremony of Ogun TVET Conference 2023, held at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta. Adirunke Adeyemi reports.
The Ogun State Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET Conference is organized by the State Technical and Vocational Education Board in collaboration with the German Corporation through its GIC operations in Nigeria, and is an avenue for key actors in the sector to explore issues, challenges and prospects based on the industry needs so as to prefer solutions to unemployment among youth. While declaring the conference open, Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun, represented by Special Advisor on Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, said the skill sector needs to be revamped through new training and learning opportunities.
Our administration and support our resolve to take the state to the next level. Let us embrace this opportunity to rebuild the TVET ecosystem, a mission that will leave a lasting legacy and impact on generations to come.
In his keynote presentation, the guest lecturer, Mr. Fatai Oshunsoya, said the aim of the program is to tackle the theme, rebuilding Ogun State TVET ecosystem for improved access to quality demand-driven training and lifelong learning opportunities.
So for employment or labor rebalance, we must have the required education and skill sets for people in the respective employment opportunities that are available.
In their addresses, the conveners promised to remain committed to their quest to investing in the TVET ecosystem to boost socio-economic development of the state.
I am convinced and very optimistic that with the skills, the expertise, and the experience and caliber of the people who are today as participants, this government will definitely exude diverse spirit with an immense success.
But we also need a paradigm shift as a whole in how we provide TVET, and that's something that we would like to work with you today and also in the coming years.
During the course of the two-day conference, national and international experts will engage in discussions and dialogue to producing technical manpower in line with industry trends. Aderunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
As children in both public and private primary and secondary schools are engaging in different activities during the long holiday to relax their brains and take their minds off the rigors of academic activities, some of them have now found themselves back in school with the commencement of summer holiday coaching. The curiosity and questions as to the necessity of summer class is what this special report seeks to unravel. Matthew Shomi completes the report on the importance of this aspect of schooling in educational development of a child.
School holiday is a vital aspect of students' lives, giving them a much-needed respite from the daily grind of classes, homework, and study. It is a time for students to engage in other activities that will enhance their social and cognitive development, as it does not only offer opportunity to take a break, chance to recharge and rest, but it also facilitates self-development and growth. In the past, holiday period has always been enjoyed to the fullest, as they use the period to go on vacation by exploring other environments for another form of education, visit relatives, and exchange ideas. But the introduction of summer holiday coaching has changed the narrative.
Our program is designed to cater for all other areas of their life. One, they have time for sporting activities. We have class for robotic assignment and studies. As people are interested in that, during that period, they will have to go for such courses.
They leave home by 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the morning. By 9 o'clock, they start lesson, and between 12 and 1, they close for the day. It will keep them busy. Not only that, what they have been taught during the normal school hours will not be forgotten.
It is essential to engage their mind with something reasonable or something that they will benefit from academically. And that's the essence of summer. Aside engaging them academically to learn maths and English, there are so many fun activities that kids will want to engage in.
Due to the recent economic challenges, parents are now being forced to take up the work of providing for the home, which makes them unavailable to take care of their children, and this is said to be one of the necessities for summer classes.
You see, the parents, they will still have to go to working place. Where do they keep their children? Where will the children be? This is another opportunity for them. You see some parents who live in Lagos, they will even tell you that after the normal school, please, is there anywhere you can help me to keep my children? Is there any place I wouldn't mind paying?
Most of our parents today are also engaged in one thing or the other, civil servants, artisans. They have to go to their work. And so instead of leaving their kids at home, you can never tell what the next neighbor will do when you left your child with them. So it's better you keep them at schools in safe hands.
Children must not be left alone. Number one, they have to be very, very busy. There is no time. Don't allow your children to just stay indoors, do what? When the society is turning to something else.
on the financial implications of summer classes, the people believe the benefits outweighs the extra costs parents have to bear, while students are now being exposed to those things that could not ordinarily be taught in the regular classes.
Schools have started what we call educational innovation. We have now seen that some schools, other than academics, they have introduced entrepreneurship, the training of the children on how to repair handset, teaching them how to engage in catering service.
And also, aside the academics, aside the maths and English, we engage them in some extracurricular activities that they get to learn some life skills like swimming, like the ballet dance, which they will not be opportune to learn at home.
Even if students must forego their rights to enjoy holiday without any encumbrances due to some factors beyond their control, it is no doubt important that they derive the full benefits of life outside of the classrooms while attending summer school. Matthew Shoumi, OGTV News.
The Ogun State Soul Safe Corps has been commended for being fearless, disciplined, focused, results-oriented, and a positive ally in the security architecture of the state. The head of service, Mr. Kolawole Fagbon, gave the commendation when the management team of the Soul Safe Corps, led by its corps commander, Soji Gonzalo, paid him a visit. According to him, the Corps has been adding value to the security architecture of the state, despite all its teething challenges, with an assurance that very soon it will be rewarded for its diligence. Mr. Fagbon enjoined the officers to continue to be focused, pay more attention to the recruitment process, refuse to be deterred, avoid discouragement, and always keep intact the dignity of the Corps in order to attain moral achievement as they discharge their statutory duties, with a promise that all that was tabled before him would be looked into.
Call the substructure of the security architecture of the state, where you see the police and other paramilitary agencies going about declaring results. Surely, so say must have prepared the grants for them. Keep on doing what you know how to do. Surely, your day of reward is so close, so near. And even the governor appreciates what you do.
Earlier in his submission, the Corps Commandant, while appreciating the head of service for the unflinching support the Corps received from him as Permanent Secretary from the Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, pledged the determination of the Corps to continue to work assiduously for the safety of the people of the state. In attendance during the visit were Permanent Secretaries from the Bureau of Service Matters, Mr. Hamid Ojo, Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Dr. Rotimi Oluwakinlesi, Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Mr. Jola Oyeneye, and the Local Government Service Commission, Dr. Adeolu Olufowobi, amongst others. Ogun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has admitted evidence of alleged vote buying against the People's Democratic Party and its candidates, Oladipupo Olatunde Adebutu. The evidence included 2 versions of Valve ATM cards with Dame Caroline Adebutu Memorial Foundation inscribed on them. It also admitted as exhibit the original West African School Certificate examination results for June 1978 of the second respondent, Adedapo Abiodun, the elected governor, who was the APC candidate in the election. Fawara Adesomu reports that the second respondent had closed its case before the tribunal. His reports.
Tribunal resumed as scheduled at 9 a.m. on Tuesday with a short adjournment of 30 minutes at the request of the lead counsel of the respondent, Chief Wole Olanipekun SAN. On resumption from the adjournment, exhibits on alleged vote buying were presented before the 3-man tribunal, and the lead counsel to the petitioner appealed to the court to grant a 2-hour break for perusal of the document which was given. After the tribunal's second break of the day, Respondent counsel called in a witness, gave a trajectory evidence on how the People's Democratic Party PDP and its candidate in the March 18 election, Oladipupo Adebutu, had allegedly in February opened a bank account number 240-929-2604 with Zenith Bank and deposited within a short period of time over 2.2 billion naira, which was allegedly used to fund vote buying during the election. The witness, Solomon Abiodun Soyalu, told the tribunal that the valve cards rolled out in the memory of the mother of the PDP candidate and the petitioner in the case contained 10,000 naira each, and there were over 200,000 copies allegedly distributed across voting units in Ogun State. During cross-examination by the PDP counsel, the witness affirmed that he was the Director-General of the All Progressives Congress Campaign Organization in Ogun State and had formerly been a member of the PDP before joining APC. Counsel to the party speak.
We've done very well. We've closed our case. Third respondent will open their own case. Like I keep on saying, there's no cause for alarm. You can see us showing what we have in terms of vote buying, in terms of everything we can put into it to show that the petition is dead on arrival.
As usual, it went well, and the second respondent have finally closed their case. We thought they'll have more witnesses, but they have closed their case. And so far, so good. We're happy with what has been happening in the tribunal, and we look forward to the case of the third respondent, which is APC.
The second respondent, through its counsel, closed its case before the tribunal. The third respondent, APC, will open its case before the tribunal as from Wednesday, 9th of August 2023, when the trial resumes. Adefowora Adesonwo, OGTV News.
The African Free Trade Zone Agreement has been identified as the pivot to unlocking the fortunes of Africa. Some media practitioners stated this at the 2023 Africa's Bar Association Conference in South Africa. Participants at the ongoing 2023 African Bar Association Conference were of the view that political stability, judicial independence, and organized policies in tandem with African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement would go a long way in boosting multilateral trade on the continent. The Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is a legal instrument to encourage and promote economic activities in dividing moment of goods and services among state parties. Statistics have shown that the African Free Trade Area is the world's largest free trade area, connecting 1.3 billion people across 55 countries who are members of the African Union, going by the projections in the agreement. The chairman of Bafemi Owode local government area of Ogun State, Honorable Adeshino Ogunshola, has described the past 2 years of his administration as eventful, characterized by people-oriented projects and development aimed at making life more bearable for the people. Honorable Ogunshola made this known while interacting with journalists as part of activities marking his 2 years anniversary celebration as the council boss. Elizabeth Esson reports that the chairman had earlier interfaced with stakeholders in the council area to further feel their pulse on the areas still lacking attention. Her report.
July 2021, Honorable Adeshino Ogunshola took the mantle of leadership as the chairman of Abafemi Owode local government area under the flagship of the All Progressives Congress. And 2 years down the lane, it has been a worthwhile sojourn, dotted with purposeful and result-oriented projects with direct impact on people's lives.
He has sufficient experience to be the council chairman. You can go around all the local governments in the state and see the difference of what he has done. He has been able to at least accomplish not less about 15 projects since he came to office.
Celebrating 2 years in office, Honorable Ogunshola thought it wise to interact with stakeholders in the local government to give account of his stewardship, as well as hear from them where his administration is lagging behind for necessary adjustments.
Appeal to
individual groups, corporate and non-corporate organizations, religious bodies, unions, academics, philanthropists, etc., to rally around us in the provision of more infrastructure facility to the grassroots level of this local government.
In their different speeches, representatives of various groups and royal fathers commended the achievements of Honorable Ogunshola and his team, confirming that they indeed made the right choice.
We shall be continue giving 100% plus to your administration in all ramifications. That is our goodwill.
The council boss thereafter met with journalists, highlighting some of the projects embarked upon by his administration and programs in view before the expiration of his tenure. To round off the celebration, more completed projects will be commissioned in some wards of the local government. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
The federal government says it is working on plans to develop quality care for older persons in Nigeria. The Director-General, National Senior Citizen Center, Dr. M.M. Omokaro, said this during a two-day workshop on the development of policy guidelines and regulatory framework on quality care assurance for older persons. Omokaro said that the two-day engagement was to ensure quality care for older persons in Nigeria. He also said that the engagement was expected to consolidate frameworks and standard operational procedures to ensure improvement in quality care and well-being of older persons and their caregivers in Nigeria. He said that the training would ensure that caregivers met the needed standards for accreditation for quality care assurance. He assured of the United Nations' determination to ensure that older persons were adequately captured in UN program. Abia State Governor Alex Oti on Tuesday formally launched a special security operation codenamed Operation Crush. Speaking during the event held in Umuahia, Oti said the development was a strong and coordinated response to the lingering challenge of insecurity in parts of the state, which has made life nightmarish for many. He also added that the huge resources had been committed to the launch of the operation. The governor recalled that the kidnappers and armed robbers had made economic and social activities almost impossible for thousands in those communities, restricted the movement of honest men and women, driven farmers out of their farmlands and several families away from their homes, and kidnap of men of God in the state. He warned that the officials in charge of the operations in various zones shall be held responsible for any form of harassment and abuses reported against their men. Burial activities for the chairman, Ogun Central Senatorial District of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Fong Abiola, will commence on Wednesday, 9th August 2023, with a line in state at his residence, Salvation Avenue off Remy Jacobs Street, Moshood Abiola Leme Abeokuta, starting from 4 in the evening. A statement from the chairman, Ogun APC, Chief Yemi Shanusi, says Christian wake will hold same day at his residence, beginning from 5 in the evening. On Thursday, 10th August 2023, there will be funeral service at the First Baptist Church, Ijayi, Abeokuta, at 9 in the morning, while private burial will hold shortly after the service. Entertainment of guests will hold on Friday at Bishop's Court, Onikolobu Road, Abeokuta, beginning from 12 noon. The senior pastor of Fountain of Life Church, Pastor Taiwo Odukoya, has been reported dead. His demise was confirmed through the official Facebook page of the church. The church disclosed that the cleric died on Monday, August 7, in the United States of America at the age of 67. Pastor Odukoya was the founding pastor of the Fountain of Life Church, Ilupeju, Lagos. May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace. It's time to bring you business news after this time out. Stay with us.
to the business segment of the news. Nigeria tops the list of countries with the highest rate of unemployment according to the latest statistics released by the World of Statistics. Nigeria led with 33.3%, followed by another African country, South Africa, 32.9%, and Iran, 15.55%. The lowest rate of unemployment, according to the report, were in countries like Qatar, 0.1%, Cambodia, 0.36%, and Niger, 0.5%. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the unemployment rate in Nigeria increased to 33.30% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 27.10% in the second quarter of 2020. Banks' non-performing loans hit 1.32 trillion naira as of the end of April 2023. Figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria have revealed. This figure represented 4.3% of the total credit in the banking sector, which stood at 30.64 trillion naira. The loans in the sector had maintained a steady increase following the loan-to-deposit ratio order of the CBN that mandated banks to increase their loans ratio to the public. According to the figures, the bank's gross credit was 29.72 trillion naira as of the end of December 2022, with non-performing loans of 1.2 trillion naira or 4.2% of the total credit. However, challenges in the economy, which was further worsened by Naira crunch crisis in the first quarter of the year, a challenge that crippled many businesses, created repayment challenges for many businesses. The World Bank Clean Technology Fund and the Dutch Corporation are to finance the $338.7 million solar power projects in Nigeria and other countries in West Africa. Parties in the deal are providing the fund to support the implementation of the Regional Off-Grid Electricity Access Project for countries under the Economic Community of West African States. ECOWAS said it had engaged a consortium of firms to provide technical and financial assistance to companies in the off-grid solar PV sector and financial institutions in the 19 project countries. It said the support was not only to private sector, but also to commercial banks and microfinance institutions in the countries covered by the project. And finally, on the business segment of the news, the Nigerian trade worth about $226.34 million is at risk of breaking down following a border closure between the two countries. The recent border closure by Nigeria with Niger following a military takeover that overthrew President Mohamed Bazoum's democratically elected administration is negatively affecting trade between both countries. The acting Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adini, recently announced that because of current conditions in Niger, the borders had been locked, with certain locations becoming off-limits to travel. It stated that the decision was taken by the Economic Community of West African countries. In a recent letter to the Nigerian Senate, President Bola Tinubu stated that ECOWAS had come up with a communique against coup in Niger. And that's the news. Many thanks for watching. It's back to Muji for the rest of the bulletin.